So Jose Andres is the celebrity chef who came up with World Central Kitchen, who had a bunch of his workers killed by Israel in an attack on their vehicles. And he is speaking out. He went on ABC's This Week to give his thoughts on the matter. And, I mean, this is pretty scathing. He didn't hold back. Let's listen.
As you said earlier this week in an interview, we were targeted deliberately, nonstop, until everybody was dead in this convoy. Do you believe at this point, from what you have seen, that they were deliberately targeted? Your aid group?
That the convoy was deliberately attacked is obvious. The precision, the continuous following over 1.8 kilometers until the three cars were totally destroyed, and all the members inside those three. Obviously, this was targeted. We could argue that the first one, let's say, was a mistake. The second, the third.
Do you believe World Central Kitchen was targeted on purpose?
My humanity tells me that obviously I don't want to believe that World Central Kitchen was targeted. And probably this was not the case. Because offshore they knew our movements, offshore they knew our teams, offshore they were in direct contact.
By the way, he's right. They shared with the IDF what their route was going to be. The IDF knew that they were going this route. And so I don't see the wiggle room here. They did it on purpose. There's no doubt about it. And the deeper, darker question is why? And as many people have pointed out, and I think it's true, they quite literally want Palestinians to starve. Hence the medieval-style siege, which cut off the food, fuel, and water and electricity and all that stuff. It's not like when somebody does that, it's not a mystery what their motive is. Their motive is collective punishment. Go after the entire population. And you have these aid workers who are feeding said population, and they're looked at as the enemy. They're looked at as the bad guys. And so that's why they did it. And there's plenty of people who can't digest that point and can't wrap their minds around that point. But the people who can't do that, it's simply because they are biased. They have a Western bias where they think like, well, hold on now, the U.S. and our allies in no way, shape, or form could be this depraved and savage and barbaric and evil. But if you believe that, you're just naive, right? You're just naive.
With the different people that coordinate in these situations. But obviously this keeps happening. This breaking of communications keeps happening. Civilians must be protected. Humanitarian organizations must be protected. There are people that have names and last names. There are people that matter. They cannot be voiceless. They cannot be ghosts of wars that don't make sense. Obviously, IDF has a lot of questions to ask themselves. What exactly are they there for? Are they there really to bring home safely all those hostages that still are suffering? Offshore Israel had the right to defend itself. Offshore what happened on October 7th to Israel is something should never happen. That was an atrocity.
There's more. We got more.
You wrote a very emotional tweet about Zomi, saying, I wish I never founded your organization. You would be alive somewhere today, smiling and making somebody somewhere feel like they were the most beloved person in the world. You said you wish you'd never founded World Central Kitchen.
You know, I will forever have to live with this, as well as the families and all the members of World Central Kitchen. I founded it with one very simple idea. Can we provide food and water quicker than anybody else? Obviously, something like this makes you think. We did what we did because it's a lot of people that are always forgotten, people that are always voiceless. I know very often it's many people that joined the organization because they saw me doing the work before. And this began being an organization of one that became an organization of millions. And these are 7 internationals, 6 internationals plus Saif, the Palestinian, who is buried. And I received the photo from his father, his family, on where he is already resting. And this has become news because it's 6 internationals that they've been impacted by this war and where they're dead now, many are mourning. This comes with a risk, and we try to minimize the risk. Who is going to tell me the day we were kind of celebrating that we had armored vehicles? Finally, armored vehicles that were very well marked, that we were doing the right protocols, that we were engaging with the IDF in the way we all should be doing. Like every minute, everybody knew where everybody was. Who was going to tell me that these protocols will break in such a way.
That's one of the things that they said, is that they could not, because it was night, see the logo from World Central Kitchen, which was so clear on top of the vehicle. In the daytime, they said they couldn't see it at night. Do you buy that?
Obviously, I would like to see high quality of the video, high quality of the images. I'm very sure that probably those logos were visible. They were white cars. That logo is very colorful.
In other words, they're fucking lying. They're lying. Oh, you couldn't see it? It's a bright white car with a giant colorful logo on top. You couldn't see it? My ass, you couldn't see it.
Even in a dark night, I guarantee you that those drones could be seen.
He's right. He's saying the drones can see. The drones are high tech and they could get things in HD. They know. They could see it. This was on purpose.
They say that their drone video, and this has not been verified, this video, that they say shows Hamas operatives, and they thought one fired from an aid truck.
Every time something happens, we cannot just be bringing Hamas into the equation.
Oh, man. By the way, understand, this guy was big in, like, polite society resistance liberal circles. Like, he's the type who might be at some Hillary Clinton gala, right? And this is a guy like that saying, you can't just shriek Hamas anytime you commit a war crime or an atrocity or target civilians. Or you do a terror attack and then you're like, but Hamas! That's not how it works. Because other terrorists exist doesn't mean now you have a pass to do your own terrorism. Terrorism is bad, full stop, no matter who does it. And so this is him saying, you can't just say the word Hamas and then magically get out of anything and skirt all accountability. Zionists talk like Israel has zero agency. Like everything is just, they're just floating through the ether and just reacting like some natural biological organism with no brain and agency. It's like, that's absurd. You wash your hands of any wrongdoing you do, but then you assign perfect agency to all of your enemies. That's not how it works. You can't just say, but Hamas in every instance. Oh, did we just murk 7 World Central Kitchen humanitarian aid workers? Is that what we did? Well, Hamas exists, so not very convincing.
I think IDF knows better than anybody that can be a better army. It should be protocols, should be rules of engagement, that somebody has to be making sure that they happen in a war zone. It's way too many cases now of humanitarians dying. Many civilians, women, children, that the only thing they did was trying to get close by to somewhere that they were giving them flour or bread. This is not anymore about the 7 men and women of World Central Kitchen that perished on this unfortunate event. This is happening way for too long. It's been 6 months of targeting anything that seems moves. Oh. This doesn't seem...
6 months of targeting anything that moves. The IDF has fully lost even the like corporate type Democrats. They've all woken up. They're all like, oh, I see this for what it is now.
A war against terror. This doesn't seem anymore a war about defending Israel. This really, at this point, seems it's a war against humanity itself.
This is no longer a war about defending Israel. It's a war against humanity itself. Damn, this is scathing. And again, because they were Western aid workers, it did sort of snap some people out of some shit. That's undeniable, certainly among the population. We've had some minor changes now in Israeli policy because looks like the U.S. genuinely turned the heat up a little bit. But this needs to be the biggest turning point imaginable. We need that. Because atrocity after atrocity, day after day, and look, when it happens to Palestinians like it does every day, it just doesn't have as big of an impact. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
That's why, yes, I'm requesting Israel, I'm requesting Prime Minister, I'm requesting IDF, that this investigation and many others should be done right, should be done in an independent way. So not only for what...
Oh, in other words, oh, you're investigating yourself? Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be legit. It's like when police do an internal investigation after some officer does something fucked up. It's like, why should I trust that Bob's friend Jerry is going to hold Bob accountable? Of course he's not going to do that. It's human nature.
Kitchen family, for the families of the deceased, but for every other NGO that has been targeted or has lost members, to exactly understand how the IDF has been operating, so IDF can learn from it. We can all learn from it.
Yeah, they've lost the establishment Democrat types. They've lost the resistance liberals. They've lost all of polite society. There was a poll months ago that said 50% of Biden voters think Israel's committing a genocide. And even a higher percentage says maybe they're committing a genocide. I bet that number's going up and up and up and up because we get stories like this all the time. And look, they're at the point, everything he's saying is indicating he knows that all this stuff is purposeful. The 136 journalists who were killed, was every single one of them an oopsie? Was every single one of them an accident? How about the 349 murdered healthcare professionals? Was that all an accident? Is that what that was? How about the 203 ambulances that were bombed? Were those all mistakes? In every instance, you thought, I see a Hamas operative firing at us. You're not fooling anybody anymore. And I feel bad for this guy, man. I feel terrible for this guy. And he seems really, really broken up by this. So, is this a turning point? We shall see. But certainly it's a mental turning point where a lot of people are waking up. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.